Hi, Alan.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, Lynette Allman, Alan, and we might have a few more join us. This is call 3 of the Director Bound program. Okay, so the very first thing I'd like to talk about is homework from last week's call. So that was call 2, and you were to practice booking lines for a group hello, strong start, strong close with adults or a Pampered Chef partner or your upline. You were to observe a strong sellers show. If you couldn't go to somebody else's show, watch some YouTubes of shows and make observations. Make 15 contacts a week outside the party, like old business, new business. Do a vendor event some way where you've talked to 15 people, and then also watch the full calendar with Julie Gizzi and Julie Ritter and Karen Pollock. So let's talk a little bit about homework. Alan and Lynette, let me unmute you. There we go. You are now unmuted. Do you have any insights on things that you tried last week?
Hey, Dina, it's Lynette. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay. One thing that I did take away is after listening to the training audio, I think one of the big things for me, just because I'm a goal-oriented person, is the one speaker was talking about how she looks at each month and she writes a big number at the top as to how many parties she wants that month. So it's always in front of her on the top of her calendar. So like she writes a 6 at the top or an 8. And then, you know, she's always matching up to that goal. So that is something I am trying in my calendar.
Okay, I know one of the things Connie Flores says is she likes to take a peek at what she did last year at the same month and try to beat that. Even she says if it's just 1 penny or $1, she's happy. She just wants to beat herself from the year before. Alan, did you have any takeaways on any of the homework?
My wife and I actually both listened to the fill your calendar thing, and just one of the things that really stuck out to us was the whole how she offered the coupon sell, I guess, for booking a party. And we thought that was a really great way to put a tangible means to what a host is actually able to earn by having a party. That's something I think we're going to implement.
Yeah, I really do believe that people don't understand how, there we go. Oh, sorry, I turned off that light. There was a lot of glare with that. How much they get for having a show. And putting it in a coupon, you know, people really get it, you know. And, you know, if the fine print is just to say hostess benefits are the current month, every current month, there's a different additional host special or whatever. I try not to have very much fine print, but I know that there's a coupon online on the Hilt Brand National Team All-Stars, that it was a simple coupon that was just a coupon for future bookings. And so, you know, that's something that really gets people thinking, and it's a way to encourage additional bookings for the hostess by using a coupon format. But you can be as simple as taking the back of the catalog right here, cutting it out and drawing a line around it and say coupon, write in a marker, coupon for having a show. You know, if you have to do something really fast and you don't want to spend a lot of time making a coupon, give that a try, you know, and put that in front of everybody and just write on the back of their catalog, additional offers for having a show available, and then coupon benefits. Just keep it really simple, okay? Was there anything else that stood out that you're going to try?
One other thing, Dina, that I have been working with kind of in regards to the 15 contacts a week is another training I was doing challenged you to have actually 25 two-way contacts, which that means you've actually got a response back and interacted with them. So that is something like through Facebook messaging and texting. In addition to calling, I've been really working to try to get a response.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we make phone calls and we hope nobody's going to be there. You know, we just left a message and then we go, oh, okay, I tried, I did it, you know. So, all right. Well, it says Sarah Mo, but it doesn't quite look like Sarah, but welcome. I don't know if we have a goof or if Sarah's husband is joining us tonight, but welcome, welcome. We are talking about homework. I really like that 25 two-way contacts, Lynette. That is really great. I think one of it is also that I kind of thought was a standout is they both expected to get bookings. You know, they were confident in our host program and they were very confident that they were going to get results. And I think that that's important for us to know ahead of time that once people understand how much Pampered Chef gives, I call it how rich our host program is, that they're going to want to have a show. And that if I'm making it fun and informative, then they're really going to want to have a show. So let's go ahead and look at this right here. Okay. So did anybody have a recruiting interview or gather some recruiting leads?
I am actually working with one past consultant. She's doing a virtual party next week, and we're on the fence of turning that into a kickoff party for her.
Yeah. I think that, Lynette, that's a great idea. Have you had consultants on your team before who didn't want to give up the potential recruit's show to the recruit? Have you ever encountered that?
I have.
And how have you worked with them to kind of change their thinking about that? Because I know that you're totally willing to have this be this gal's, launching show and go under her. How do you get a consultant to realize that it's more important to have a new team member who gets off to a successful start and for them to have those sales?
I think kind of if you look at it like when you're buying a new car. So if you're going to buy a new car and they give it to you with an empty tank of gas, you're not going to get very far. But you get a new car and they fill your tank with gas, you're going to be able to go a long ways. So it's kind of the same thing with a new consultant. I don't ever want to give a new consultant an empty tank of gas. Because you know what, if I just did her party and I took the commission off of it, her friends just all bought. So it's going to make it that much tougher for her or him to get started.
Yeah. And those are really, I learned the hard way. It used to say in our Pampered Chef training that the consultant kept the show, but she could talk to the new consultant about splitting the bookings or giving her the bookings. And I had a show where back in the day when I started, people only had to get 5 orders or $150 in sales for it to qualify as a show. So I did this giant launching show for this consultant that I was brand new myself. This was my third party that I'd ever done. And she had 40 people at her show. And 5 people came up to me and gave orders, and the other 35 people held the orders back to give to Barbara because she had told them ahead of time who was going to order with me to make it a show, and then everything else was going to be hers. And I learned really, really quickly that I would rather be invested with helping them be successful than them to have to figure out a sneaky way for them to get the sales. Because in reality, they really were her friends and her family, and they really wanted to support her in starting her new business. And it made me look at it totally different after that. And after that, I just had a giving heart, and I wanted it to be theirs. And I found out that if I was doing my job, I had plenty of business of my own, and that I wanted to bring as many people as possible into the fold. Okay, so we're just checking to make sure. Okay, all right, so host coaching is a super important part, if not the most important part. There is a quote in the Pampered Chef business that hostess coaching is where you earn your paycheck, and the party is where you pick it up. I'm going to say that again. Hostess coaching is where you earn your paycheck, and the party is where you go to pick it up. It really is all about getting your host excited, getting your host knowing what she needs to say to her friends to get them there, teaching her how to invite people and get them there on time, and picking good recipes with you so that you have a great show. So, and then when you go, I mean, it's really all about attendance. So when guests book their parties at the party, you have the opportunity to start hostess coaching right away. You know, and one of the things that I like to say either over the phone or in person is, Lynette, tell me what you loved about the party tonight. Was it getting all your friends together and just being able to visit? Was it being able to see the products? Was it the food? Did you like hearing about how much a hostess can get for free, or maybe how much you could earn as a consultant? And then I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to have Lynette tell me. So what was it that you liked about the party, Lynette?
Well, I really, really loved those little chocolate cakes that you made.
Yeah. Could you see yourself making those for birthdays for friends and family members?
Oh, I could.
Would it be fun to give your friends a bunch of different recipes to go with the recipe I gave you tonight at your party?
Well, they'd have to be kind of easy because some of my friends aren't very kitchen worthy.
You know, we have this pumpkin cake recipe where you seriously open a can of pumpkin and mix it with a cake mix and use it in the fluted pan, and that's all that's in there. Is that easy enough for your friends?
I think it should be.
Okay. Well, we have recipes that are really that easy. You know, I would love to do a show where we feature, maybe we could do a lasagna in the big fluted pan, and then we could do dessert in the mini fluted pans. Does that sound like something that would be good for you and your friends?
Oh, that would be fun. I don't know how you're going to make lasagna in the big fluted pan.
It's called a lasagna ring, and it's absolutely spectacular. I just learned about this recipe last week, and I know your friends are going to love it because it looks really fancy schmancy, and it's really, really easy, and they're going to have a great time making it too. Okay, so you kind of see. Now, Lynette, tell me it was about the products. Lynette, so what was it about the show that you really loved?
I just was completely drooling over that Rat Crock Dutch oven. I can't even imagine having one of those in my kitchen.
Okay. You know, did you see in the middle of the catalog where you could group the Rock Crock with the slow cooker base? That would only count as one half price item for you as a hostess. Would that be something you'd be interested in?
Oh, I think I would, because I just can't pay full price for it.
Okay, well, it really is a deal, and you will get so much more. Let's look at the back of the catalog together, and then I'm going to look at this month's and next month's host additional specials, and we'll just see if there's some date that we can work with our calendars where we can get you that at least as a half price. If not, you know, maybe we could use your free to get one of those for you for free as well.
Okay, sounds good.
When they tell you what they love about the party, if they tell me it was about the cakes, I don't rush into talking about the free. I might mention it, but what they were excited about is what I key in on. And it's really important with your hostesses to ask them to give you a guest list and share the importance of a personal invitation and personally inviting the guests, but also to share with them that some of their friends are texters, some of them are Facebook, some of them still pick up their telephones, and some of them read their mail. And so one of the things that you want to do is really teach your hostess how to personally invite their guests. Obviously, if they're going to run into them in a social situation where they can personally invite them and say, I really want you to come to my show, that is going to be what's best. But a lot of times they need to send out personal text messages or personal instant messages through Facebook, things like that. So that's really important. And the next thing that you need to do is figure out the best way to communicate with the host. So I'm going to pretend Lynette is my hostess again, and I'm going to say, Lynette, my future hostess, I say, Lynette, you know, I noticed that you put your cell phone down as your phone number on the drawing slip. Is that the best way to reach you? And are you primarily a texter, or do you still answer your phone? And I just kind of laugh about it, and they'll tell me, oh, I'm really a texter. Okay, so Lynette's told me that she's really a texter, and I say to her, Lynette, that's great. The majority of the information that I can send you a text and tell you that I need to call you, or a text and tell you that I've emailed you, but I'm primarily going to text you. But would it be okay if we had 3 5-minute calls over the next 3 weeks as we get ready for your show?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Okay, I'll text you first so that you know to answer your phone. I promise to keep it really brief, but there's just some stuff that gets lost in the translation if we try to do everything by texting. So I just want your permission to call you 3 times for 5 minutes.
Sure.
Are you a night owl? I mean, when's the best time to call you, and how late is too late for you to text or too early for you to text?
I'm really around my phone anytime. You can reach me pretty much anytime.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll text you first, and then you can decide if you want to say call me in the morning or whatever. So that'll work. And then I tell people, okay, the first 5-minute phone call is like in the next day or so we can go over planning the party and go through my host packet. And then, of course, it launches into a script that says, and Lynette, I'm so excited for our party that we have picked in September on the 22nd. So tell me, what did you most enjoy about the market? There's a script for you to follow, and it is in your participation guide. Trying to find out what page it is here. Has anybody started their 90-day tracker? I'm going to encourage you to do that. Start that 90-day tracker. Okay, tracking your contacts. I just want to make sure this host coaching thing right here on page 1 is, Alan, can you see that as well? Or is that something that is just in the director? It should be in the call 3. Is anybody following along?
Yeah, I've got the paperwork out here, and I'm seeing like the a lot of the stuff you've talked about so far is in there.
Okay, all right. So, you know, this is just something that you're going to practice. Obviously, I call the asking about what they loved about the party, I call that warming them up. But I have found if I just say, Lynette, what did you love about the party? She gets tongue-tied on me. But if I ask her, what did you love about the party? And I start talking about the food, the new products, about the free that the hostess was going to get for having the show, or maybe the opportunity to join me in the business, she then can expand on it and she knows what is expected of her to say. She's not just going to, you know, and maybe some of them are going to say, I love it all. But there are great scripts here. So if you don't feel comfortable saying what I just said, you know, try one of these scripts or write your own script. And if it's working for you, just keep doing what you're doing. If you try something like this and you feel comfortable with it, but you didn't get the results that you wanted, try something else. If you try something and you're uncomfortable with it, keep trying it until you're comfortable. Because the reason why you might be getting poor results is they can tell you're nervous. And so you seem desperate. So practicing until you're confident and it seems to be about them. Like when I kept talking to Lynette about the chocolate cakes and she's telling me her friends don't do complicated, and I came up with something very specific and very easy, then she was, you know, again, it seemed to be about her, as opposed to, well, I really need a show for the 22nd of September. I really need to fill my calendar. I'm really trying to get blah, 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 blah. Can you help me out? You really want it to be about them. Okay, so there are some very specific things. Lynette, you're going to want to tell your guests about the food that you had at the show. You wanted to tell them about how easy those fluted mini cakes flipped out of the pan, and that they can really make these little cakes for their friends and their family members. You're going to want to tell them that we are going to make a lasagna ring in the big fluted pan, and we are going to have a blast that night. And that it's all really, really easy and going to be really fun, and that you had a great time at the show that you were at. Okay, so also if you have to leave this as a text message or a email message, you know, a lot of times you can send additional recipes and say, you know, something like, can I call you so we can chat about this? A lot of times if you warm them up and you've chatted with them a little bit at the party and you found out what they're interested in, and you follow up with recipes, or you follow up with more products and more product tips, or the monthly special, and then you say, I'd like to chat about this. When is a good time for us to connect? You know, you're going to get good results. Okay, so what do you do immediately upon booking the party? I like to hold up the mini catalogs and say, Lynette, if you get me your guest lists within 48 hours, I will send them the mini catalogs and I will pay for your postage. And what you're going to find is even if your friends can't come to your party, once they have those new products in their hand, you're going to get good orders. Do you think you can get me your guest list within 48 hours? And she says, no, maybe 3 days. And I go, okay, that'll work for me. We can do this in 72 hours. Anyhow, so do you want to mail me a list of names, or do you want me to hand you the sheet of labels, or do you want to fill in the blank on the electronic form, whatever, and you start working with them. But basically, I give them a host packet. I start talking to them about theme shows, and I start talking to them about getting me their guest lists. You do not have to offer to pay for their shipping, but I mean their postage for their things. I'm just telling you what I do. Okay. Lynette, do you have any additional tips on that? You've been a consultant a long time.
I think really just stressing the importance of the personal invitation and not just, you know, letting the invitation float around in cyberspace or, you know, sending it out as a group, you know, to make each of your friends feel important and loved by personally inviting them.
Okay, yeah, I think, you know, saying that I do have some very successful parties where the hostess just, you know, puts it out there on Facebook and people show up. If she and her friends are primarily on Facebook, or maybe her work friends or something, that sometimes that works. But unfortunately, I have not found that for most people, just making one post on the Facebook will work for them. That those personal invitations are absolutely key. So that's super, super important. And that you follow up within 48 hours with your hostesses and try to get with them right then. You know, getting that hostess packet in their hands is important. I like to go ahead and set them up online and start sending them the information so that they see that their party has gotten started. So, okay, so scripts. Okay, so within 24 hours, if you call and you say, hi, this is Dina with the Pampered Chef. I just wanted to give you a quick call to say thank you for booking a party with me. One of the things that people got from me when they went to National Conference was an idea from Katie Woods on a save the date card. Okay, so it's coming, save the date, and I take a Sharpie marker and I put in here what the date of their party is, or if I want to send it to somebody who I know hasn't booked the show with me, but they said they wanted to have a show, I put a big question mark here with a Sharpie, and then I write a little note on the back saying, I'm so excited that you booked a show with me. I want to get with you to pick a date. When's the best time for me to reach you? Can you text me on my cell phone so we can find a date for you this fall? So using a save the date card, this is something that we ordered from Vistaprint. If you're live on this call or you listen to the call later and you beg and plead, I will be happy to send you some of these in the mail. We also created as little giveaways for the people who came to conference. Thank you for your Pampered Chef order. Enjoy your new kitchen tools. I appreciate you for supporting my business. Little postcard that you can send out when you get an outside order. And then something I like to leave in the hostess's microwave the night of the show. Thank you for being a super host. You're a hero in my business. And I pre-fill this out and I just leave it in the microwave for her to find later as a little thank you that I leave that night. And those are little samples of the postcards that we did. Really important to thank them for booking a show with you and for you to get the process started. Even if their show might be 4 months away, you can still get them signed up online. You can get the show created. And you can send them, like sometimes I have it wrap around into the new season and I don't have the new catalogs yet. I can still give them a hostess packet and say, I'll be mailing you the catalogs, and I write a note, has a hostess packet, mail them the new catalogs. So those are kinds of actions that you can take right away. So definitely practice these scripts, become comfortable with this, because it is all about host coaching. I know that some of the most successful people on our team just follow the hostess coaching checklists that are on the PCU and the training under host coaching, and they just follow that. For me, hang on, let me get my planner here. As soon as somebody, and I print these off the companies, the host coaching information and checklists, and they're two-sided. And this is my checklist. Now this one says reschedule, okay? So this was somebody who booked a show with me, and things got too busy during the summer, and she wanted to have a show as soon as school started back. And so I put this in my day planner. I use a 365 Create planner, and it has a special little punch. And if I get a drawing slip, I can punch that and put it in there if it's something that I can follow up. But basically, as soon as somebody says they want to have a show, I start this little sheet. And here is the hostess checklist right here. So call number 1, call number 2, and the third contact. And if you follow this, you will become an excellent host coach. Okay. And I keep extra one of these in my paperwork rolling cart that I have that I take to my shows. I have a briefcase on wheels, and I just put a bunch of blank ones of these. And as soon as somebody has a show, this is my system for following up.
Do you know where are those at?
We'll post them.
We'll post the link to it, but it's on the company's website. It used to be under the last tab, which was like the resource tab, but I think it got moved and combined. If they ever stop doing it, we will be making our own, because this is the perfect system. It tells you everything from before you leave the host's house, remember to thank her for hosting, schedule a closing date, review her current host rewards, tell her how to reach the next couple of levels, mention that the receipts are going to be emailed to the guests, explain the process for when the show order arrives, what she can expect. Your expenses, mileage, groceries, hostess, miscellaneous, the bookings that she's eligible for a future party pack. Everything is on this. So we will post that on the Facebook page, but this is absolutely really all you need to know. Now it says, hang on, I'm going to find some glasses here because the writing's small. On the first contact, set a show date, confirm. Obviously, there is some skill with this. Alan, I'd like to have us look at your calendar. What day of the week works best for you?
Probably either a Wednesday or a Saturday.
Okay, my next Wednesday that I have available is September 27th. I'm not looking at calendar. I don't know what day of the week that is. But if you want a Saturday, I could do a brunch in September, but a Saturday evening, I've got October 9th and October 16th open. Would any of those dates work for you?
The 9th would probably work.
Okay, let's get you penciled in for the 9th, and we will get going with this show. Instead of asking Alan an open-ended question about when he wants to have a show, I get very specific. What day of the week works best for you? And as soon as he's told me Wednesdays and Saturdays, those are the dates that I give him. I could say something like, I don't do shows on Wednesday because that's Wednesday's church. We have like activities going on at church for the kids, and that's not a good day for me. I could do other weekdays. Otherwise, we're looking at a Saturday. Or I can find another consultant who can do that for you. But he had given me Saturdays, so I would just move that along. So each one of these, if you don't know what to say or to do about it, work again with your recruiter or your upline director, or contact me and say, Dina, how do you handle the over-inviting with the, needing 40 people to invite? And I can just tell you exactly what I say. Okay. Alan, I'm so excited you're going to have a show. You're going to find inside my host packet, there's a packet of 40 invitations. And the reason why Pampered Chef has packaged them in 40 is that they know that usually about a third of the people you invite are going to be able to make it on any given night. And so if you over-invite, your friends are going to be able to have a lot of fun and not feel any pressure to buy because there's plenty of people there. And they just know that 40 invitations are the magic number. I know that sounds scary, and maybe you think in your house won't even fit 40 people, but I've been doing this 25 years, and only 2 or 3 times did actually everybody who was invited show up. The majority of the time, that rule of only a third to a quarter of the people you invite, are going to be able to come. So make sure you make your list big. And if you know somebody who's likely to be able to give out 5 invitations, go ahead and pre-write the invitations for them and give them the invitations to give out. Maybe you want to make them a co-hostess with you or whatever, or we'll do something fun for them. But make sure that you invite enough people. Our recipes are geared to feed about 15 to 16 appetizer portions. So again, it doesn't cost any more money to have a show for a third of those 40 invitations than it does to have 2 or 3 people show up. So let's go for the big invitation. So each one of these bullet points that you're going to find on the host information and checklist form, maybe you want to get what I call table talks. What is it that experienced consultants say about each one of these items? I have a friend who just gives this to the hostess and says, I'm going to keep a copy and you're going to keep a copy, but if you have any questions about any of these items, or if you want to check them out as we check them off as you do them or we talk about them, we'll both be on the same page. And that holds her accountable to make sure that she does the hostess coaching the way it's supposed to be done, because she's put it in the host packet and says, okay, this is what we're going to go through together, and we're both going to be on the same page. Okay. So the homework for the week 3 call is to practice what to say to your hostess when she books a party. Practice getting the show on the calendar. It's not on there, but I really think that that's important. Call the hostess on your the hostess within 24 hours. Make 15 contacts this week outside of the party. Work on doing a power hour for booking and recruiting. And remember, that power hour is where you spend 45 minutes concentrated, focused, locked in on getting business, whether it's recruiting or booking or host coaching, and then you spend the last 15 minutes doing anything that you promised, like mailing out a hostess packet or sending out an extra packet of invitations or whatever it is. Maybe they told you they were going to have a virtual show and then they decided that they were going to have a real show. Whatever it is, that last 15 minutes is spent on cleaning up the piles and finishing what you did in 45 minutes. Again, if you put a timer on yourself and you really focus, you're going to get a lot done in a short amount of time. You are going to have an audio assignment again, and it is Make It Impactful with Laura Anticola and Diane Feller. And we're going to send you the link to this as well and post it on our Facebook page. It's going to be through Consultant Corner Training and Resources, and it is in the director bound. I think you'll find it in the bottom of the call 3 where we have our homework. Okay, I have a little story to tell you about a carrot, an egg, and a cocoa bean. I don't drink coffee, so I changed the story to fit my own need. You're happy to Google this. You're going to find this online. This story's been around for a long time. What would you rather be? A carrot, an egg, or a coffee or a cocoa bean? This is a story about perspective and adversity and how things happen to you in life and how you choose to see them. The story goes like this. A young woman and her mother were told about how a young woman was told by her mother how hard her life had been. She didn't know how she was going to make it, and she wanted to give up. She was tired of fighting and struggling, and it seemed to have one problem, and then if she solved that, a new problem arose. The mother took her to the kitchen. She filled 3 pots with water. In the first pot, she placed a carrot. In the second, she placed the eggs. And the last, she placed the cocoa beans. She let them sit and boil without saying a word. In about 20 minutes, she turned off all 3 of the burners. She fished the carrots out and placed them in the bowl. She pulled the eggs out and placed them in the bowl. Then she ladled the cocoa mixture into a bowl. Turning to her daughter, she says, "Tell me what you see." The daughter says, "Carrots, eggs, and coffee." She brought her closer and she asked her to feel the carrots. She did note that the carrots were soft. She then asked her to take an egg and break it, and after pulling it out of the shell, she found that the egg was hard-boiled. Finally, she asked her to sip the cocoa. The daughter smiled. It had a rich aroma. It would taste better with some sugar and some cream in it, but it still had a lovely smell. The daughter then asked her mom, "What is the point of all of this, Mom?" And the mother explained that each one of these objects have faced the same adversity, boiling water, but they reacted differently. The carrot went from being strong and hard and unrelenting. However, after being subjected to the boiling water, it softened and became weak. The egg had been fragile with its thin outer shell that protected its liquid interior that would easily break if it was dropped or tapped. But after going through the boiling water, it became hardened. The ground cocoa beans were unique, however. After they were in the boiling water, they changed the water. They changed the circumstance. "Which are you?" she asked her daughter. When adversity knocks on your door, and it will, how will you respond? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a cocoa bean? Think of this. Which am I? Am I the carrot that seems strong, but with pain and adversity, do I will to become soft and lose my strength? Am I an egg that starts out with a malleable heart, but changes with heat? Did I have the fluid spirit, but the death after a death, a breakup, or a financial hardship, do I become hardened and stiff? Does my shell look the same, but on the inside, am I bitter and tough? And has it changed my heart? Or am I like the cocoa bean? The bean actually changes the hot water and their very circumstances that brought the pain. When the water gets hot, it releases the fragrance and flavor. Are you like the bean? When things are at the worst, you get better and change the situation around you? When the hours are darkest and the trials are their greatest, do you elevate others around you to a different level? How do you handle adversity Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? And I can remember when I heard this story years ago that I had a choice on how I was going to react to somebody telling me no, or somebody trying to make something my fault that wasn't really my fault, that I could decide if I wanted to cave in, or if I wanted to get angry, or if I wanted to try to make the situation better. So that's just a little motivational thought for the week, and I hope you do your homework. And I know quite a few of you joined us a little bit later, so if you can text me your takeaways from last week's call, that would be great. So I want to just respect your time and encourage you all to do your homework. And we will be at the same time, same place next week for call number 4. Do we have any questions? I'm unmuting everybody really quickly.
Thanks, Dina.
Any questions? No? All right. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.